Title: LDR boyfriend breaks up with girlfriend on their very first meet. What happened? Girls POV met online. Started out as friends with similar interests, similar life values. Eventually, it led to him and I having an interest in one another, then admitting we both had feelings for one another, to wanting to both be in a relationship with each other. We ended up trying long distance. Eventually fell in love with each other. We made plans for me to move where he lives, to start a life together. He said he had an attraction towards me. We had a strong connection. We would talk for hours off and on when we were not busy at work or whatnot. We scheduled a visit for me to visit him. He was sweet and paid for the plane ticket and everything. When I got on my flight, he sent me a text that said he loved me and safe flight my love. It was the last time I ever heard those words again. On day 2 of the visit, he told me he wanted to stay friends to see if his feelings develop again. Mind you, he had said I love you and safe flight my love 24 hours prior to saying what we said on day 2. There was affection during the visit as normal couples do, hand holding, etc. But I guess he didn't have physical attraction for me. The visit was supposed to be for a week or so, but ended up only being for 4 days. Ended up going back home as it was too difficult. It's been 3 months since that has happened, and I haven't moved on. Still love him and want to be with him. He no longer speaks to me. I send him casual texts that ask how he is, etc., but they go unread. We went from talking 10 hours or more a day to 3 to 4 times a day. I get a response, then don't hear from him again for another 3 to 4 days. I sent him a text to see if he was feeling better, but it's been 5 days since I heard from him. Feels like he ghosts me. He still has me on his friends list on different platforms. He hasn't removed me or blocked me. I guess he needs distance to deal with everything that happened, but it hurts the most when someone who once said they loved you ends up ghosting you. I just hope the pain goes away one day. It felt like we were meant to be. It was random how we met. We kept having positive signs, and those close to us that we mentioned about each other said we should go for it. I feel so let down. I have been crying every night since the visit and haven't stopped. 3 months of crying.
Story 2: Toxic Relation 101. A year ago I was dating this girl, let's say Samantha. So Sam and I met in the school bus, and there was something about her which pulled me towards her. She asked me if we can have a friends with benefits sorta relation, and I declined, since I was more into serious and long-term relationships. She agreed to date me, and everything was going great for the first few days. Then things started to change rapidly. I was absolutely transparent and faithful in our relation, however the same wasn't true for her. Sam was the type of girl that will keep in touch with her exes and past flings, cause she loved attention and liked to be praised, which I learned later, and labeled them as good friends, which clearly wasn't the case. I never tried to control her while we were dating. I gave her the freedom she deserved, let her do what she wanted. But there were guys from whom I really didn't get good vibes from, namely alpha, beta, gamma. She was really into alpha, and I could see that, but she'd deny it, saying that he's very much older than me and I am not interested in him. But I knew she liked him cause they were still exchanging pictures, normal, and the guy was flirting, so I barred her from having contact with him, and she obviously didn't stop talking to him. The second guy, beta, was her ex-BF who was still in love with her, and she loved his attention too, so I did what I had to. And finally gamma, the villain of the story. He was the after-party drunk AF guy who usually ended up having one-night stands with half the town. At first she was bitching to me about how bad that guy is, saying he's a playboy and stuff. But eventually they ended up being really close friends. Lol. The guy would call her late at night and she'd pick up. This went on for some time, and I didn't say anything cause I didn't think that things would change between them. It all started when he started sending her posts about how playboys are, referring to me, and stuff. One time I went to school only to meet her, even though my classes were off that day, and I spent the whole day waiting for her only to find her ignoring me and spending time with him. We started fighting frequently about not having enough time for each other. I valued meeting in person and she preferred texting. Whenever I'd ask her to meet me, make time for me, video chat with me, she would always have tons of excuses to not to do so. Our relationship started to fall apart, and she was never there for me in my hard times, and even if she was, she'd brush it off by saying don't overthink, don't complain and stuff. And I, on the other hand, was ready to get her the moon to make her feel wanted, secure, loved and stuff. I started feeling insecure, lost my self-confidence, self-esteem. I got deprived of her love and attention, so I started seeking it outside of my relationship. And it was my old friend, let's say Zara. And at one point I got so desperate that I asked my friend Zara if she wanted to make out with me. Yeah, I know, really stupid and wrong. I was so scared to offend her that I'd lie to her about meeting the boys, even partying and stuff, cause I knew she'd overreact to everything. And like I said, I'd tell her everything. I was frustrated, but too scared to have the talk about the issues, cause every time I will be the one feeling sorry and end up apologizing. Sometimes when there were fights between us, she'd include her friends or brothers in the conversation. Anyway, this can go whole day, but once I gathering up the courage to tell her I didn't want to be with her anymore, I chickened out and changed my mind. I got so manipulative that sometimes I'd say things like I'm having panic attacks just to get her attention, love, etc. I even ended up playing with Zara's feeling who loved me just to keep my relationship. So you see how sucked up it got. Anyways, Sam texted every girl I knew because she thought I was cheating on her, and she eventually found out about Zara and me, got proof, and ganged up on me with her brother. I got so mad that I didn't want to talk to her anymore and told her to fuck off and never talk again. She asked me for my dad's number, and I didn't give it to her, so she told my sister that I'm a playboy to ruin my image in my own family, and even told her about the things that happened between us, minus the shit she did. So the whole idea was to fuck with my life, and she was unsuccessful as my sister knew how she was. I was clinically depressed after that.
Story 3. Lying boyfriend ended up sleeping with my mommy. Don't know why he felt like he couldn't trust me to tell me these things. He told me I was the closest and most honest relationship with anyone he had ever had. Our relationship seemed so healthy and we had great communication, or so it appeared. Right now I'm at a stage where I keep going back and forth that I could forgive him later, but then imagining the doubt and suspicions I would have if I did. He called me for the first 2 weeks, emailed me. I had to block him after he continuously disrespected my no contact request. He said he's going to therapy for 4 months to get better, so he can ask me for another chance. It turns out later that my divorced mother had a date for the night, and I was so genuinely happy for her until the guy who showed up at our doorstep was him. The point where I confronted him about dating my mother, the only reply he gave was, "Well, you will call me daddy anyways," and had the audacity to take my mother out on a date in front of my eyes. I have no clue how I would confess to my mother that he is the guy I used to date, seeing that she is smitten with him, and it would hurt her deeply as it took her so long to finally get going, and I just can't break her heart. After asking him to gently turn down my mom, he refuses to let her go, and claims to have slept with her as well. I am distorted and my heart aches knowing that my mother is dating a scumbag, and he is only dating her to get revenge on me. What should I do now?